Over the next 7 days, I'm going to be challenging myself to build the biggest LEGO Star Wars clone base. Now I'm going to be spending every single minute outside of school and sleep on this MOC so I can try and build the best MOC that I ever have. There's going to be a full interior with lights and a massive battle outside the base, so you're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you watch all the way through and let's get right on into this video. Every good MOC needs a good plan, so I've built a small model of what I want to have done by day 7. This base consists of a large hangar with an opening door on top, a command room with windows overlooking the battlefield, a door that leads from the base to the battlefield, and then a massive battlefield sitting outside. Now that the plan is in place, it's time for me to get to work. I'm starting by tiling off the floor of the hangar bay with a bunch of light bluish gray bricks, and now that the light bluish gray outline is done, I can come in with some yellow highlights and then fill the middle in with a darker gray to have a nice landing pad in the middle of the base. Now unfortunately, running low on tiles is going to be a common theme throughout this video, so I have to sacrifice some of my favorite sets to grab some extra dark gray tiles. But their sacrifices were not in vain, as I was able to finish tiling off the floor, and I think that it's looking pretty good. Next, I got to work building up the walls for the main portion of the base. After installing the archway, I started to build up the foundations, because if this is going to be very heavy, it's going to need a strong foundation, and that brings me right now where I am using some of these very ugly rock pieces to build up the wall, so I can have it be strong and not go through all of my bricks. I know it's taboo to use these pieces as they are very ugly, but I've managed to make it work here, and you're not really going to see it from the inside of the base after the interior wall is built up as well, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Now, I have always wanted to install lights in my bases, however, the LEGO branded lights and stuff like Light My Bricks and other stuff like that are very expensive and also very hard to install, so I decided to go on Amazon and get these light bars. They're very cheap, and I think since they're wireless, they shouldn't be too hard to install into my clone base, so I'm going to build a little section where I can slot these in, then they should be able to light up the clone base. After placing the light bar where I wanted, I secured it in with a bunch of different bricks to hold it in place. I'm very happy with how this turned out, as it provides much needed light into the base, and I think it looks very good, and I can't wait to try it out in other parts of the base. Speaking of other parts of the base, I decided to shift my attention to the other wall on the other side of the clone base, and then once I finished all of that up, I decided it's time to call it a day for day 1, as we got a lot done with the floor of the hangar bay, as well as the main section for the clone base, and I think that we did very well today. Starting off day 2 strong, I decided that it was time to get to work and tile off the main section of the clone base. Now this area is going to be an armory with a spot for a Republic fighter tank, and once it was all tiled out, I added in some details like this gun rack, a helmet stand for the clones, a computer, and then some miscellaneous crates. And with that, the main section for the armory of the clone base is pretty much done and tiled off. Now I'm turning my attention back to the hangar bay, where I'm installing these different pillars that are going to hold up the roof later on. Now these also double in purpose as a spot where I'm going to be putting more light bars so we can light up the hangar bay. I made indents so I'm able to slot them in just like this, and I even have spots where I can stick my fingers in to turn the lights on and off, and I think this is going to turn out great. I got a lot of work done for day 2, but I think it's time to call it a night and go to sleep.
I never thought I'd make it to retirement, but here I am.
I spent all of day 3 designing a roof for the hangar bay. I always thought that the hangar bays and the Venators were very cool, and always wondered if it was something that could be applicable in a clone base. And after hours of trial and error, I finally came up with a design that can both be held up by the supports and have a working Venator style door at the top. This might just be one of the coolest things that I've ever built with the Venator door. It can slide open just like this, and then once it is slided open, you can move in any ship that you want, can just fly right through like the hangar bay on a Venator and land below, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. And as for the lights, I left in a small area where you can reach in and flip the switch and you can turn on the lights from the inside of the base. And once the lights are on, I have to say, this looks pretty sick. Now, building this roof took a lot more time than I thought it was going to, so we are all out of time for day 3, but I'm still very happy with the progress we made, and I think that the roof is so cool, as well as the lights. I'm very happy with how this is all coming together, and I'll catch you all tomorrow on day 4.
Nah, it's nothing. Maybe it's another drill.
We are now officially on day 4, but we have run into a bit of a roadblock, and that might be an understatement. Now, I originally spent $150 was the budget for this video on pieces and everything else that I was going to need. And I did that. I made a Bricklink order and all my stuff got here, and I bought about 800 tiles, thinking that that would be enough when combined with the rest of the tiles that I already had in my collection. And well, we're already way through that, and if you can see, this roof has not one tile on it, and I am completely out. So I'm not sure exactly what what to do. I don't have the money to spend on more pieces, and even if I did have the money, I couldn't buy anything and have it get here in time for the 7-day challenge. So luckily, some of the best innovations happen when you are under pressure and lacking resources. So I'm gonna try and figure something out. I had the idea to put the hangar bay on top of the clone base, and that would kind of get that verticality that I'm looking for, and also, you know, have the 2-story base that I want. It just won't be as wide, but that's okay because we can do some cool terrain out there instead. So I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. The only issue is this weighs about 6 or 7 pounds, and this roof isn't really meant to hold too much weight. So I'm gonna see if I can, you know, do some stuff, make it work. Hopefully it doesn't all come collapsing down, because then we'd have to restart this whole challenge. Okay, I did a little bit of changing up to the support in here, and we are either on for greatness or we're about to lose all of the progress that we've made in the last couple of days. But here is the moment of truth. Will this hold? I think we might just be okay. Okay, I think we've solved our issue, and I think this is looking pretty good all up. Now, I do now need to build the front wall and change up my design, but I do really like how this looks, and we'll still have the hangar bay door there that works really well. We still have all of the lighting integrated, so I don't think this will be too much of an issue. I'm just gonna have to figure out what I want to do to close it in so it's not a big open area. I think this is definitely the way to go because there are no more tiles, and this, you know, satisfies the clone base. And maybe I can get a little creative and see if I can add anything on off to the side. You may have noticed that we skipped today, and that's because yesterday I had to drive up back to my college to take a final, so we really need to kick it in the overdrive if I want to finish this base on time. I've put together this wall, but now I have to install it into the front of the hangar bay. However, the roof wasn't really made to be taken off, so I have to loosen it a little bit, and hopefully I'll be able to slide this in and it won't cause any damage to the roof. It took a bit of finesse, but I was able to slot the wall in and then reseal the roof, and it still is all very sturdy. Now that the wall's installed, I have to risk it all again to put the hangar bay back on top of the base. However, it actually went pretty smooth, and with that, I'm going to be calling it a day for day 6. And day 7, we have a lot of work to do as I haven't even started the terrain. This last week really flew by fast, and if I want to finish this base in time, I'm going to have to kick it into overdrive and build out the entire terrain, which is my least favorite part of mock building. I grinded away tiling this all off, and once I finished one, I have to now double it and do this whole thing over again so we can have a big battlefield. I went for a dark tan pathway surrounded by some green foliage on the sides that complement and add some contrast, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, but now it is time to add in all of the different details and the minifigures. I grabbed out all of the minifigs and stuff that I wanted to include in this space, and now I have to kick it into overdrive to finish this in time. And finally, after 7 days of hard work, the clone base is done. And that is going to do it for the clone base. Let me know what you guys thought. 200 likes, I'll do it again, and I will double the size. And if you guys saw this guy, the sig fig hidden, let me know down below in the comments, and you might just win a little something if one lucky person gets that right. But let me know what you guys thought of the clone base. I had a lot of fun doing this, and if you want to see it again, double 200 likes, and I will do it. Peace out.